We fought for our rights, not Black people. And this commenter continues to say, Native Americans have been fighting for our rights since colonial times while your people were still slaves. This commenter is speaking specifically about people in Central and South America. In previous videos, I have stated that there are, of course, longstanding migrations that happened across Central, South, and North America prior to the imposition of colonial borders. In fact, I made a video all about how borders aren't real. That said, the Black civil rights movement in the US did influence immigration reform. There is nothing controversial or ahistorical about this. It is a fact. I find it fascinating that you, who claims to be an ally of Black people, find it so incredibly difficult to admit that the Black civil rights have done something good by contributing to immigration reform so that Central and South Americans, which I can speak on as a Guatemalan, so that Central and South Americans can have access to these lands more easily because unfortunately the US as a settler colonial nation has imposed these barriers and borders. And as I have explored in previous videos, Central and South Americans, particularly Indigenous people and their descendants, should be able to access North America without difficulty, as our ancestors would have been able to do so prior to the imposition of colonial borders. But unfortunately, the borders do exist, and because of the civil rights movement, this led to lots of racial reform in this country, including immigration. So let's get specific. The civil rights movement's efforts to dismantle racial segregation and discrimination brought about broader discussions on equality, justice, and human rights, which influenced immigration policies. The civil rights movement highlighted the inherent injustices in racial discriminatory laws and practices, which extended to immigration policies, which are also based on racial and national origin that favored Europeans and restricted non-European immigrants. You could look at the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 that came as a direct result of the civil rights movement. This is well-documented information. The push for civil rights exposed these inequities and built momentum for change. Not only that, key figures in the Black civil rights movement, such as Dr. Martin Luther King, advocated for broader human rights issues, including better immigration policies. The leaders of the Black civil rights movement had influence on policymakers and general public that helped to garner support for immigration reform. So to sum it all up, anti-Blackness can appear in various forms. Sometimes it is right in your face and very easily debunkable. Sometimes it appears very subtly, even by those who claim to be allies. So what was it that Malcolm X said? Racism, or in this case, anti-Blackness, is like a Cadillac. They bring out a new model every year. Look into that, deconstruct that. Sorry, it's not gonna work over here.